obviously in the UFC there is a absolute ton of fighters, right? Some fighters people love, some fighters people hate, and some fighters people are so and so about, don't really have an opinion about. But today I want to go through every single division, yes, even including the women's divisions, everyone's favorite divisions, and go through who my favorite fighter is in every single division from 115 pounds strawweight to 265 pounds heavyweight. But obviously, we're going to have to start with the women's division at 115 pounds. I'm going to go really quickly through these few divisions here. I'm sorry, but I am. Uh, I have Amanda Lemos at 115 pounds. I was going through the rankings and I had no idea who to pick. So I picked Amanda Lemos. I know people like Zhang Weili, but I'm going to give you guys some news. I picked Amanda Lemos to beat Zhang Weili. Worst prediction of my life. I will say that. I'll admit it. I was confident with that pick too. I was confident she was going to knock her out. Dumbest pick of my life. But the thing about I like about Amanda Lemos straight up is that she can end the fight at any time. You know what I mean? So it's like you're kind of, even though it's a women's fight, you're kind of like, oh well, Amanda Lemos is powerful, so she could knock this person out. Obviously, her Marina Rodriguez fight was an early stoppage, but that's why I like Amanda Lemos, and that's why I probably put her as my favorite 115-pound fighter. Now let's get to the 125-pound female flyweight division. And this one was the easiest because it's actually my favorite female fighter, and it's Natalia Silva. I actually really do enjoy watching this person fight. Uh, really, really fast, really pretty powerful, really good kicks. If you guys don't know Natalia Silva, she's in the top 10 right now in the flyweight division. I truly suggest watching some of her fights. She's really fun to watch. Like, truly, she bounces around. She's just super quick. I really, really, really enjoy watching her fight. So that's why I gave her my favorite 195-pound fighter, because I actually enjoy watching her fight, which is rare for a women's fighter. Now, 135 pounds division. Jesus Christ. Like, I went through this division and I was appalled by what I saw in the rankings. I mean, some fighters I've never even heard of in my life, bro. And I've been watching UFC for a few years now. So I'm just like, bro. Um, I saw Chelsea Chandler in the rankings, the girl that ran from Norma Duma, and I was just like, that makes no sense. But I picked Reina Aldana as my favorite fighter, mainly because she just had a really good fight against Cara Rosa. That's it. I'm just gonna be honest. We're getting to 125 pounds males. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the people that like women's MMA. I'm not. I mean, some fights are really good, but let's just move on. Okay, 125-pound male. I'm going with the based one himself, Manel Cap. Manel Cap, come on. You're gonna see a routine here. I'm gonna be picking fighters who I like the striking of. Call me a casual all you want, but striking is so much more fun to watch than grappling, and I love grappling. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of fun grappling matches and blah blah blah, and fun fighters that are grapplers. And actually, one of them, a couple fighters here that are on this list are actually grapplers. But for me, I really enjoy Manel Cap. Again, super fast. Obviously, he's flyweight, so he's gonna be fast. But powerful too. Um, Please rebook that fight against Kai Kara France, man. I really want to see both those guys fight because I actually really do enjoy both of them. But I want to see Manel Cap win, and I want to see Manel Cap as champion. I think he'll be a really fun champion who actually trash talk. Not saying Pantoja is not a fun champion; he is also very fun. But straight up, Manel Cap, my probably favorite 125-pound fighter right now. Definitely is my favorite fighter at the moment for 125 pounds. Now, 135 pounds, I'm going to get so much flack for this because people are hating on him right now. But Sean O'Malley, okay? I like watching Sean O'Malley fight. I enjoy every fight of his, okay? Um, I'm a Sean O'Malley fan, straight up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint some of you. But I do enjoy watching this guy fight. He is horrible on the mic, I will admit, and he's not as big of a star as the UFC wants him to be. But it's mainly because he's such a fun fighter to watch. I mean, if you don't enjoy watching a Sean O'Malley fight, I'm sorry, you're lying to yourself. He's so much fun to watch. I mean, his Piotr Jan fight, where you think he won or lost that fight, that was such a good fight. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, Rob Dvalishvili would never ever think about striking with Piotr Jan for 5 seconds, okay? Because he had to shoot a takedown every 5 seconds, where Sean O'Malley straight up went in there and just tried striking with Piotr Jan, who Piotr Jan has one of the best is probably one of the best strikers in the UFC. Period. But I think really his performance over Aljo, and I know people like to make the excuse that Aljo didn't have time to prepare, and I get that. Um, And I know the UFC wanted Sean O'Malley to win, like that's obvious. But again, you have to think that Aljo just beat Henry Cejudo and out grappled Henry Cejudo. He's a Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, and I know wrestling is different than jiu-jitsu and everything, but I don't know. It was just really impressive win. And then yeah, and it's not an early stoppage by the way, so people don't comment that. It was an early stoppage. Okay, Mark Goddard got that one right. But I'm gonna go on to 145 pounds, which actually was one of the harder ones because I have two fighters here that I really really like who are actually currently going to be fighting soon for the title at UFC 298, and that is Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. And to make this video fun, I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria. Now, Ilia Topuria to me is like the perfect fighter, dude. Like I really enjoy watching this guy fight. Fast, powerful. I think he has one of the most underrated boxers of all time. He's so good at boxing. I mean, I know Josh Emmett is a little goblin, but dude, he's come on. Like that Josh Emmett performance was really good. I mean, he submitted Bryce Mitchell. I know Bryce Mitchell was injured, and I guess he had like the flu before or something. I don't remember that, but he was injured, or not. Sorry, he wasn't injured. He got hurt, and then submitted Bryce Mitchell. But still, that's impressive. And then his Jai Herbert knockout. I know it's Jai Herbert who isn't the best, but you gotta think that that's after Ilia Topuria getting clipped by a head kick, man. Like absolutely dismantled by the head kick, and he took it like a champ, went on the next round, and knocked out Jai Herbert in the second round. That was a really good performance and a really good knockout. So Ilia Topuria is definitely probably my favorite 145-pound fighter when I think about it, but Volkanovski is definitely a close second. But 155 pounds is, again, really easy because he's actually my favorite fighter, and it's Charles Oliveira. And for Charles Oliveira, I always like to bring up this one moment. So obviously, you guys don't know, I was at UFC 289 in Vancouver when Charles Oliveira fought Beneil Dariush. Um, and the craziest thing about him is that he's a guy that doesn't speak any English or whatever. He speaks a little bit, I guess, but not a lot at all, like if any, really. And the fact that he can go on the mic and just say who is the champion and get the entire Canadian crowd to chant Charles Oliveira is the champion while he's not a champion. You gotta think this is a Canadian crowd. This is not a Brazil crowd. This is a Canadian crowd. Just shows how much star power he has and how much people love him. And it's kind of a casual take to have Charles Oliveira as your favorite fighter. And I don't like to use the word casual, but Charles Oliveira is my favorite fighter just because he's a really nice guy, but he's also a really fun fighter. I mean, his title reign was so much fun. I mean, those were like the best fights in lightweight, dude. Where his title reign in the UFC. So that's why Charles Oliveira is my favorite 155-pound fighter and definitely my favorite fighter of all time at the moment. But let's go to 170 now, which is Kamaru Usman. Now, when I got into MMA, which I only been an MMA fan for 2 years, I know it's crazy. I'm still a little bit of a casual, okay? Bear with me, okay, if I get things wrong here. Uh, when I was getting into it, I remember watching a highlight reel of Kamaru Usman knocking out Jorge Masvidal at UFC 261, and instantly I was a fan of him. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bandwagony of going right for a champion that just got a knockout win, but became a fan of him, and I started watching some of his fights, and I really, really, my favorite fight of all time is Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 1, and that was such a good fight, and I think Kamaru Usman, I really like. Again, he kind of has that factor of like a Manny Lemos, and I don't want to compare Manny Lemos with Kamaru Usman at all, but I kind of am here because he has that power where it's like he can shut anyone's lights off at any second. Um, Now, the funny thing about that is, I remember when I watched Kamaru Usman get knocked out by Leon Edwards, it was like the most heartbroken I've ever been in my life. I mean, like, full on depression hit, dude. Like I was so upset because I was a massive Kamaru Usman fan, and watching him get knocked out dead by Leon Edwards really hurt me. But it happens to the best of us, I guess. And favorite 170-pound fighter is Kamaru Usman. Now we go to 185 pounds, which is to me the worst division, men's division. Maybe 265 is pretty bad too, but 185 is actually a non-ranked fighter, and we have Roman Kopylov. Again, there's not much to say here. Uh, Good striking. That's pretty much all I can say. I mean, his next fight is against Anthony Hernandez, which that's going to be a really good fight. Two pretty big prospects fighting each other. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, Roman Kopylov, fun striker. That's why he's my favorite fighter at 185 pounds. To be honest, I don't know. I didn't know who to pick. I'm not a big fan of any 185-pound fighter, so I picked Roman Kopylov. So Now for 205 pounds light heavyweight, I have Alex Pereira. Now I actually was a fan of Alex Pereira before he got the whole bandwagon fans from him, and sorry, I was a fan of Alex Pereira because I remember watching a Joe Rogan podcast. Yes, I watch the Joe Rogan podcast. Okay, I don't watch it that much, but sometimes when he's MMA, we're not talking about Joe Rogan podcast. But anyways, Joe Rogan mentioned Alex Pereira on his podcast, so I went back and watched some of his clips. I mean, the Dustin Jacoby knockout, obviously the Adesanya knockout. So I was like, oh, this guy, if he comes to the UFC, I mean, this is gonna be great. So when he got into the UFC, obviously he fought the Andreas guy or whatever his name is at UFC 268, knocked him out with a flying knee, and then went on to fight Bruno Silva. And at the time when he fought Bruno Silva, the people don't like to mention this, but Bruno Silva was on a 4-fight win streak, all by finishes. I believe they're all by finishes, but I know he was on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. And that fight was really good. Like, if anyone wants to go watch back a fight, that fight was amazing. I love that fight. And then he fought Sean Strickland, knocked him out, beat Israel Adesanya, became the middleweight champion, then got knocked out by Israel Adesanya, the anime lover, and then went on to fight Jan Blachowicz, beat Jan Blachowicz, and then became the 205-pound champion. I don't know why I just listed all that. Everyone knows about Alex Pereira becoming a double champion with 11 MMA fights, which is crazy. But I just love this guy because he's actually a very interesting character. It's just kind of funny seeing him. Like, one of my favorite clips is after his knockout win over Israel Adesanya at UFC 281. What, TKO win. It he didn't even look like that happy when he had the championship belt, but there's a video of him eating pizza and he's just smiling. It's just like, bro. But anyways, I love Alex Pereira. Funny guy. I hope he beats Jamal Hill. 265, I gone with Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall is becoming a lot of people's favorites in the heavyweight division. But I remember liking him after the Sergey Spivak fight, which again was pretty recent. And then he gone on to beat Volkov and then lose to Curtis Blades by a freak injury. But I like this guy's story a lot. I mean, he's been like training, I think, with his dad the entire time. I mean, it's pretty impressive, and his win over Sergey Pavlovich was awesome, and I really enjoyed watching that fight. That was a good fight for how long that lasted. But Tom Aspinall, fun fighter. I mean, again, simple routine. I just like people that are fun. But yeah, Tom Aspinall is probably my favorite fighter at 265 pounds, which that will conclude this video of me ranking every single, ranking every fighter, putting my favorite fighter in every single division in the UFC. Now, I'm only going to do this once because this is my first video on YouTube. I have a TikTok. If you want to follow it below, it's just shorter videos than this is a longer videos for YouTube, obviously. And I have an Instagram too. Again, it's the only time I'm going to actually be promoting it. It will just always be in the description for my future videos. But also another thing I want to promote is that I will now be streaming every single UFC card live. Why not? It'll be fun to do. So we're going to be doing that. Obviously, I'll probably be doing it alone because probably no one will join. But anyways, that was me ranking every single fighter. Now, if you guys do, I want to see your guys' favorite fighter in the comments. Now, I'm not saying rank every single fighter. I'm just saying, just give me your favorite fighter currently, because I like to see who people's favorite fighters are. So yeah, that will conclude this video. Have a good day.